Welcome everybody to the new BMW X6 M Competition. That's a bit of a mouthful, but basically it's the high performance coupe version of the X5. Both the X6 and the X5 have had a little bit of a makeover in recent months. There's new headlights, there's a new grille. For some reason you can have that illuminated if you want to, although why you would is anyone's guess. There's new bumpers too, there's new tech inside, and there's new tech under the bonnet. But does all this add up to a better car than before? Or is it all just needless tinkering? Inside the highlight of both the X5 and the X6 is the new curved display. Now, that's been taken from every new BMW for the past few years. The iX, the 3 Series, they've all got it. Basically, it combines a huge widescreen touchscreen with another widescreen digital instrument display. And it's brilliant. It's used all of BMW's know-how in making really good infotainment systems, and it's put it all together. The touchscreen is really sharp, it's really easy to use, very intuitive menus, and you can use this little rotary controller down here to control it without even looking at it. The digital instrument display is exactly the same. Really sharp, really easy to use, and you can configure it using the buttons on the steering wheel. Because this is the X6 M Competition, it's got a few other upgrades as well. It's got this steering wheel with big carbon fibre flappy paddles and little red buttons. And it's got this gear lever, which more of the same. It's got these seats too, which are really, really supportive and great holding you in when you're going around corners. Speaking of seats, there are 5 of them in here. Obviously, it's not as practical as the X5. There's not quite as much headroom in the back, and the boot's a bit smaller, but I'm quite tall and I can sit in the back of this thing without any problems at all. Legroom's great, headroom's adequate, and if you really need a bit more space, just go for the X5. Not that you really need it, because yes, the X5 has a massive 650 litre boot, but this thing isn't that far behind. Being the M Competition version of the X6, this one comes with a rather special engine. It's a 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8, and for good measure, it's got some mild hybrid assistance. To be honest, it doesn't do an awful lot, but it does help the whole thing produce 625 horsepower. Now, this is a technical term, that's a lot. It's enough, in fact, to get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in less than 4 seconds, and for an electronically limited top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. More than that, sounds really, really good. Oh, I'm such a child. Now, obviously, with an engine like this, it's not going to be the most economical thing in the world. In fact, it's going to burn through unleaded like it's going out of fashion. But you can get some slightly more economical and eco-friendly versions of this car, including a new plug-in hybrid. That comes with an electric motor and a 3 litre straight-six petrol engine, which together produce 490 horsepower. And that, another technical term inbound, is more than enough. It's also much more economical. BMW claims you'll burn about a litre of unleaded every 100 kilometres, which is pie in the sky, really. But thanks to a slightly bigger battery, it'll now do best part of 100 kilometres on a single charge. And we've tried that, and it's more or less accurate. So if you have an X550 and you can charge it up regularly, your fuel bills will be pretty small. Admittedly, it won't perform like this, but 490 horsepower isn't to be sniffed at. But this being a BMW, the engine is only the second most impressive thing about it. The best thing is the way this car drives. The X5 and X6 have always been astonishing, really, but this new version carries on where the old car left off. The steering's fantastic, the brakes are really good, the gearbox is great. It's ticked off all the main boxes, and then it's combined all that with suspension that really beggars belief. I mean, this is the sporty version and it's really quite comfortable, and the slightly more humdrum versions are even better. On a motorway, it just wafts along, even at 250 kilometers an hour. Okay, you can only do that in Germany, but you get the picture. Despite the comfort, this thing handles really, really well. Now, we have to caveat that by saying this is the high performance version and it is going to be a bit better than the others. But this thing really, really likes taking corners in a way that a big, heavy SUV just shouldn't. It's not a Porsche Cayenne. What is? But the balance between comfort and handling is first rate. Okay, if you get the X5, it will feel a little bit more top heavy. That's just physics for you. But even that doesn't wallow around too much when you get throwing it into a corner. The biggest problem with the X5 and the X6 then is the expense. Now, because of the way the Irish tax system works, VRT is a bit of a killer. And if you want a 30D or a 40D or something like that, it's going to come in quite a lot more expensive than the 50E. But that's fine because it's probably the one we'd have. While it's true that the X5 and the X6 haven't really changed all that much, this is little more than a facelift really. They're still the same cars that have been impressing us ever since they were launched. They're still beautifully built, they're still great to drive, the engines are still fantastic. Yes, they're expensive, and even the cheapest one, the 50E, comes in at about €100,000. But given that everything else costs roughly the same money, you can't even argue that they're bad value. Okay, not everybody's going to love the look of the X6, but just get the X5 instead. If you're in the market for a luxury SUV, you really can't go wrong with one of these.